12 money mistakes to avoid this year. In this channel, we've talked extensively about how to make money. We've also discussed habits to develop for success. Today, however, we'll focus on what not to do with your money in 2024. Take out your financial notebook. You've probably made at least one of these money mistakes. If you find the video you watch useful, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and support us with a donation. Your help is precious to us and will allow us to continue producing quality content for you. You can do it here below, through the appropriate buttons, subscribe, and thanks. But don't worry, what you'll learn today could change your life for the better. Not negotiating your salary when starting a new job. Yes, I said it. Most people don't want to negotiate their salary. The first thing to say is that you have nothing to lose if you don't get the position because you haven't gotten the job yet and were looking for a job. Alternatively, they might still have a job and are just looking for other opportunities. Secondly, you need to set the tone of your relationship with the employer from the start. A good employer will go out of their way to hire you after asking you to negotiate your salary. This is because they know that such an approach will be an advantage for the company's growth. Therefore, the next time you go for an interview, be prepared to negotiate your salary. These companies will offer you a surprisingly high figure if pushed. Not knowing your expenses in detail. A famous saying goes, you can't manage what you don't measure. I agree with this proverb. If you don't keep track of your expenses, you have no idea if you're spending too much, spending too little, or if you're going in the right direction. The most successful people work with detailed budgets, not rough budget plans. They can account for all the money they've earned in the last 3 years without problems. Budgets are the secret to success. I invite you to try making a budget in your area and see the difference it makes. Not earning money in your free time. Since most of our jobs are hectic, we often spend our free time napping or doing useless things. We play video games with friends, go out clubbing on weekends, sometimes even right after work. What many don't realize is that they're wasting precious time. If you want to be successful, you need to detach yourself from this money mistake. Find a hobby in your free time and find a way to make money from it. Walk dogs, bake cakes, or cater for events. You might be able to earn some pocket money, but only if you're willing to improve. How about starting a part-time job? A bakery with your name in town would certainly be a lot of fun. What's holding you back? Waste. We all live by the YOLO, you only live once, slogan. We all tend to think we earn to spend. As a result, we often end up spending more than we budgeted for. Because no one deserves a first-class dinner just because they had a busy week. This isn't a good idea because it only takes money out of your pockets. You need to understand that money has 4 purposes. 2. Saving money. 3. Donating money. Spending money for only one of these purposes is a sign of lack of financial education. Slowly, without realizing it, you run out of credit and get seriously in debt. Eliminate small expenses that accumulate here and there. This way you also get a feasible budget. Panic investments. This point is for those who are a bit further along in their financial discovery journey. They've made some investments, like buying stocks. This important step forward in 2020 had a significant impact. A pandemic that dealt a devastating blow to economic growth, causing almost all portfolios to crash by 30%. The losses were so huge that there were several waves of stock selling in a week. They feared the stock price would continue to fall and they would suffer losses. When it comes to stocks, the scariest but best approach is buy and hold. Regardless of short-term fluctuations, you must resist the temptation to undervalue yourself. In the long run, this strategy can help you realize unimaginable profits. At the same time, it can curb the desire to constantly check account balances. Not having an emergency fund. Money management remains a major problem for many people who are cautious about spending. If they want to spend money wisely, they should consider having an emergency fund to cover sudden and unexpected expenses. Currently, if you get sick, can you afford to pay for the cost of treatment or are you covered by health insurance? If you have neither, you're on a very dangerous road. However, some financial experts prefer to pay off debt before setting aside an emergency fund. The smartest way, in my opinion, is to leave an amount of money that you can save without being burdened by debt repayment. After all, if you save $1 a day, at the end of the year you'll have about $365. You wouldn't think this could alleviate the most pressing economic emergencies. In my opinion, however, it will. Now, I have a request for you. Pause this video right now. And I want you to do something important for me. If you do, you'll be the best. Thank you so much for your support. Buy everything on credit. Credit cards are something we love and hate. Credit cards make our lives easier and harder at the same time. Easier because it allows us to buy goods we can't afford and pay for them later with interest. But life is made harder because many of us mismanage our credit and end up in debt. I assure you that buying groceries and gas on credit is a terrible idea. In fact, each of these items carries interest and, in short, you pay a higher price for these items. This type of spending can lead to loss of control over expenses. To avoid fines, credit card bills must always be paid on time. Also, only make moderate purchases with the credit card to avoid additional expenses. Not setting up credit monitoring alerts. When it comes to finances, there are good and bad credits, which can lead to a life of debt. As if that wasn't enough, identity theft and other fraudulent activities are now more common, with numerous hackers around. To avoid incurring debts you don't remember, you need to set up monitoring alerts and a stolen identity protection service. This type of assistance can be found online. From what I've heard, these online monitorings keep your information safe and track it on the dark web in case someone tries to hack you. Hopefully this information will help you avoid unnecessary losses. After all, isn't it a smart idea to give your money a little extra security? Lending money to a friend who has no relatives. This money mistake is common among young 20-somethings. But don't worry, the good news is that as you get older and learn, you get over it. Avoid lending money because you want to please your friends. Asking friends for money, especially when you're trying to make ends meet, can lead to depression and damaged relationships. While you always see them spending money on vacations or new clothes, you end up thinking they could have used that money to pay you back. Especially before you're financially stable enough to say goodbye to money without crying. Unrealistic goals. As children, we wanted to be princesses and princes. We didn't know, nor did we try to know, how to become such. But now we've grown up and can no longer live in our fantasies. That's why each of us needs to aim for the advantage of being able to clearly imagine what we want to be in 10 years. And a very clear and flexible roadmap to get there. If we want to realize the dream of that villa, that red BMW, we need to have a financial plan. You can be creative and use a vision board. This will give you all the motivation you need to achieve your goals. Look on YouTube for how to create a vision board with a realistic deadline. If you need to save money to reach a goal, keep it in a separate account so you don't withdraw it. Anticipate a creeping lifestyle. If you were poor before, you'll understand the sense of entitlement you feel when you earn extra money. That feeling you get when you come across something you couldn't afford before with the money you worked hard to get. We need to separately identify our needs and our wants. A pay raise is not the time to move to a bigger house or buy new jewelry. Instead of spending on expensive things we don't need, why not invest in short-term goals like wealth regeneration? Sorry if you're offended, but if you don't have a financial plan, you'll drown in the same financial crisis as everyone else. Writing down your plan may seem like hard work, but it will save you from many financial mistakes that could have been avoided without a plan. You can refuse to go out with someone in your free time. It's the same reason you can't deny spending some money from your paycheck on something irrelevant. If you're trying to avoid these money mistakes this year, make sure to follow these tips. They will be useful for you. Don't buy insurance. If you're like me and are afraid to handle your iPhone, no matter how many times it falls, this is for you. Get insurance for your cell phone, TV, health, and students. Most of them cost little, so you'll be safe in case of an accident. The best example is the coronavirus epidemic. Many people were affected because they didn't have enough money for medical care. It's been 2 devastating years for everyone: employers, employees, and entrepreneurs. Imagine what people who had insurance for their business had back then. Take wise advantage of some of the free insurance that companies offer their customers. In summary, it's very important to understand the money mistakes we make and how to avoid them if we want to be financially free one day. Teach your friends and family not to make these money mistakes. You'll be surprised by the difference that giving up these habits can make in each of their lives. What was your experience with the topic covered in this video? Tell us about it in the comments, we are curious to know. And if you have any doubts or questions, don't hold back. Leave a comment, even just a simple like would be perfect, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel to stay informed about upcoming releases.